So earlier this year, I bought Mazda CX-5, the midsize SUV, after researching the market for several months. In today's vlog, I'll try to capture some of the decision making and also I'll provide my feedback. I'm not a car expert, I'm just a regular everyday driver. And if you're considering Mazda CX-5 or any of the other midsize SUVs, hopefully you'll find this video to be very useful. My Mazda CX-5 2018, and this is the basic iTouring front-wheel drive model. And for the 2018, the design shape is very similar to the 2017. The front grille and the lights and whatnot, I think it's pretty much the same as the last year, but some of the options have been updated for the 2018 model, which I will talk about in this review. With the 2018, we get the new grille and the new emblem. There's actually the radar sensor behind it. One of the reasons why we picked the Mazda CX-5 as compared to Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4 is the design and drivability. Look at this design. I love this beautiful grille. It's just so well designed. While driving this SUV, you almost feel like you're driving a car. I mean, it doesn't really give you the SUV feel. I really like the sharp, aggressive look in the headlights and how these headlights kind of meet the grille. And this is in Mica blue color, which I thought is a really good color. As you can see, if the light changes, the color looks a lot darker. So that's a cool feature I really like about this Mica blue color, which almost looks black. In the sunlight, it looks really, really beautiful. So the iTouring model comes with its standard 19-inch wheels, which I think look fantastic. They make the car look a little bit more sporty, aggressive, very stylish, very good looking car. I like the side mirrors because when the indicator is on, so they light up. But one bad thing is they don't fold, so that's kind of sucks. So by standard, iTouring model will have the back windows and the back windscreen tinted. I really like the rear windshield wiper. This car does have the dual exhaust tips. I think they make it look really good. I really like the style, how these different edges here. And I really like this spoiler. I think it makes it look really nice. And also this fin. A couple of years ago, you would have thought that only high-end cars get the shark fin. But here, Mazda iTouring model has it too. This SUV is equipped with 2.5 Mazda Skyactiv engine that produces 187 horsepower and 186 torque. And the gas mileage is phenomenal in this car. It only takes 87 gas and does about 30 on the freeway and about 24 on the streets. So right now combined I'm getting about 26, 28 at the moment because mostly I'm driving on the streets. This is the new Skyactiv 2.5 liter engine. I really like that they even have this cover on the hood, which prevents the heat from coming into inside the car. Beautiful engine. One of the things that I really like about this car and the engine is the responsiveness and also how much gas mileage it gives. Really love it. If you have your keys in your pocket, all you have to do is just press this button and then car unlocks and you can get in. This car definitely gives you a feel of a lot more expensive car than it really is. It's still a Mazda, but the options and features that it has, they can compete with some of the higher end cars. So the materials used in this car, in the door panels and armrest, I think are very quality materials. The seats are good. This is how it looks. The steering wheel, I think the seats are high quality. Looks really posh. Looks really good. These automatic controls are pretty smooth. The seat actually moves really fast. I do have to adjust these all the time. Very handy. Nothing really extraordinary on this door panel. Just simple windows up and down, child lock, unlock, and adjustable mirrors. It's very simple. One thing I really appreciate about this Mazda CX-5 is that it has a lot of features automated. For example, I leave the lights on auto so they automatically turn on when it's dark enough. Same thing on the other controls. If you leave your car's wipers on auto, car will detect rain and the wipers turn on automatically. One of the positives about this car are that it feels very premium. The stitching and the chrome that's used, it makes it look very expensive. The styling is excellent. I like the seat position and the steering wheel. I think overall the seat and steering wheel is very comfortable. I've driven this car on a long distance for 6 hours straight and I don't feel really tired. It's very comfortable, very smooth car when it's driven. It's like you feel like you're floating on water. It's a very smooth car. If you have keys in the car, all you have to do is just push the start button to start the car. Notice how when I press the brake, the green lights comes on the start button. And then it starts the car. Very slick. I like it. I'll quickly talk about some of the features that I really enjoy in this car. One of the key features is the lane departure warning. So my distance is set to safety, so what happens is that it gives me warnings if a car is within 30 to 40 meters in front of me. I'll get a highlight on the dash. There's a car and I just need to be careful. And I've also noticed that if I'm not paying attention and I'm close to the lane, Mazda tries to autocorrect the car as well. And then that's when, if you're not used to it, you'll feel a little bit uncomfortable because the steering wheel just moves. The only thing I can relate it to is when the car needs an alignment, you know, when the wheel automatically turns. So that's also something new that you will have to get used to. And also the blind spot monitoring. These blind spots, they light up if there is a car in your blind spot. The blind spot is, I think, a standard feature now for all three, the Sport, Touring, and Grand Touring models. I really like this info button. You can press and change the display. So now you get the vehicle temperature, your range, and how many miles you have on the car. That's your trip information. And then it kind of shows you the gas mileage, how much gas is being consumed. And also you get a notice on when the service is due in this car. So very simple cluster, but I like the information that's being displayed. I love the feel on the steering wheel. Very sporty, very slick. So here you have your volume control, your information. Your phone stuff is in this area. You can turn on and off the radar cruise control. The new radar-based cruise control is a little bit tricky and something you'll have to get used to. I'm still very uncomfortable with it. What happens is that if you set your cruise control, especially if you're in traffic, it can be very useful because it judges the distance automatically. What makes me uncomfortable is that when the car speeds up, it speeds up really fast. Like the RPM goes to 4 or 5 in the second and third gear, which makes me really uncomfortable because there's a lot of traffic around you and the car just speeds up. So that's something that you have to get used to. I love these controls here because they're so easy to reach out to when you're driving. Your music. This car doesn't have navigation. It's really easy to use this cluster. The volume knob. You have the sports mode. Basically just doesn't shift gears quickly, so it kind of gives you a sporty feeling. I love the gear knob. It has dual climate control. I love that feature. It has heated seat. You get the heated seat for the iTouring model. For this base sports model, you don't have the heated seats. I really like the look and feel of the vents in between. Materials used are awesome. Love this tablet. Love the simplicity. It is touchscreen, so I can go to home. The only two things that I typically use are music or the communication. Let's see, what is this? Applications. Doesn't really have any applications either. Just the fuel economy. This is just for the last trip. The screen is really beautiful. It kind of like a mini iPad. The options are just few. Settings, I rarely check that. I love the gunmetal material that's used here. One complaint though, there's not enough space to keeping the coins, so I'm keeping them here. But if you notice, this whole space is wasted. They could have installed something here to keep the coins. I keep my phone here, which I think is nice. 2 more buttons, parking is here and the hold button. I think it's a neat feature because when you come on a stoplight, I sometimes press the hold button. I can rest my foot. And if you leave this hold button on every red light, when the car comes to a halt, it stays there until you press the gas pedal. Otherwise, the car is just gonna stay. So the hold button can be very convenient, if you will, when you're driving or when you're in heavy traffic where there's a lot of stop and go, or if you are picking up your food in line at the fast food. I think the hold button becomes very useful. So there are a lot of features where the car controls itself. The elbow rest area is a little bit towards the back. I think I've gotten used to it. If you look here, I mean, something that I had to get used to because it's so far back. In other cars, it is a little bit towards the front, so that's something to keep in mind. Also, on the door panel, elbow rest area is very comfortable. I like it. The position is really good too. Another thing I don't like is the position of the cup holders, especially when you're driving long distance. The cup holder is so far back actually. It's hard to, when you're driving, to reach out with your right hand and pick up the drink and drink it. So I actually reach out with my left hand. So once I put the car in reverse, the backup camera activates. So the lines don't turn, but it's still very useful. The camera will beep if there is a car coming. So it's pretty easy to back up. If a person is walking by or if a car is coming by, the camera will beep, make a noise. The only issue is sometime at night, especially if it's raining, the camera visibility kind of goes really low. Take a look at that. This is how the Mazda camera looks at night, especially when it's raining. As you can see, it's very difficult to back up. Here's just a different view when the sun is directly not in the camera. It's a little bit better. This is the other door panel. As you can see, there's some storage here that you can use. The passenger side doesn't have the automatic seating adjustment system. You will have to manually adjust your seats. So I'm sitting on the passenger side. Baby seat is in the back, so we have to push this seat a little bit forward. There's not too much space here. It's a little bit uncomfortable even for me. If you're, let's say if you're 6'1" or 6 foot, you will have a lot of issue with your legs touching the dash. So let's quickly look at the glove compartment, which I think is more on the smaller side once again, so there's not too much storage available. It's kind of small. So let's look at the central storage compartment, which also I think is appropriate. It's not the deepest. It can hold some stuff, but as you can see, it gets packed very quickly. We have the 2 USB ports. I'm already using one, and then you have the charger here. And then I like the cable can kind of go through this area. You have the sunglasses holder. I'll do an experiment quickly. For example, these are my Oakleys. They don't fit at all. It doesn't matter which way you try to fit them in, they just won't fit. One of the options why I thought this car was better for me than any of the other midsize SUVs, take a look at how wide the door actually opens. This allows me to take the baby inside the car easily. There's a lot of space here in this area. And the other option I really wanted to have was the backseat vents. The base model for Mazda CX-5 does not have the vents, but the middle model, which is this one, the i-Touring, does have them. And the top model of course has it. Another thing you'll notice, this bump right here, which can make it a little bit uncomfortable if someone could fit into the middle seat. So I'm sitting in the middle seat right now with 2 baby seats on either of my sides. As you can see, it's very uncomfortable. Seat is going into my ribs and on the other side too. This car is really suited for 4 people. 5 is a little bit pushing it. You can definitely fit in the 5th person, but it's going to be super tight, or the person has to be super skinny. Maybe a kid can fit in here. Another feature I really like in this car is this armrest in the middle folds down. You have 2 cup holders. There's no heated seats in this model, but what I really like, there are 2 USB ports for the back, so I think those will be very helpful especially when we are traveling long distance. We can charge the iPad or the Amazon Fire tablet. This is the other baby seat. It's a rear-facing baby seat. Because how much the door opens, it makes it really easy for me to take the baby out or put the baby back in. Especially if the baby is toddler, it's very useful to have this much space. We use this space for toys for the kid. There are back pockets here, but right now they're not used much. Let's look at the trunk. So as you can see, there's a stroller in the back. Still have a lot of space left. I think it's appropriate. And I can put suitcases and more luggage, more stuff. So I think the space is appropriate in this car. Not the most spacious as compared to some of the other competitors like the Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4, but at the same time this car feels a lot sportier, and the chassis, the Skyactiv chassis, and the driving dynamics are so different in this car. I picked this over the more practical one because if driving is something that's important to you, then yeah, I can live with not having enough space, but this is, you know, it's a fun factor. It's really fun to drive car. Also, for $600 more, Mazda was offering a package that I could have purchased, but I opted not to. That gives you a button that you can press to close the back door, but right now I just have to do it manually, which is totally not a big deal. If you wanted to fold the seats down, it's pretty simple to do in the iTouring model. You have this latch that you can just pull and the seat will fold forward, and on the other side you have two latches, one for the middle seat and one for the bigger seat. In addition to that, the seats also recline backward. I think that's a very neat feature. And in the back you have these two pockets on either side. We keep our bags here. It's a small pocket, very useful. And there's one on this side as well. In addition to that, there's a charger here as well in the back, so that's kind of neat. And last but not least, you have your spare tire and the equipment in the back here. So that's pretty much it. This car is a family car, but for a small family. You definitely will be stretching a little bit to put 5 people in it, especially if you're traveling long distance. To keep it at 4 people, and you'll be enjoying the ride a lot. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. I will probably make another video for the driving from inside, the point of view driving. But if you have any specific questions, please feel free to let me know. Thank you.